Nothing changes until you get serious. Those words may sound simple, but they carry the weight of truth that can shape your entire life. You see, the reason so many people stay stuck, the reason progress seems slow, the reason dreams remain as daydreams instead of becoming reality, is because most people never cross the line from interest to seriousness. They dabble, they try, they experiment, but they never fully commit. And as long as you're casual, life gives you casual results. You can want more money, you can want better health, you can want stronger relationships, but if you are only interested, life will keep testing you. Interest means you'll try until it gets uncomfortable. Interest means you'll give effort until it demands sacrifice. Interest means you'll keep going until something more entertaining comes along. Seriousness, on the other hand, means you stay the course no matter what. Seriousness means the decision is already made. You've burned the boats, and there's no turning back. Think of it this way. When you were in school and the exam was a week away, maybe you thought about studying. Maybe you opened the book and skimmed through a few pages. But then the night before the exam, when the pressure was on, suddenly you got serious. Suddenly nothing else mattered. Your phone, your TV, your distractions, they all disappeared. For those few hours, you were focused, committed, and locked in. That's the difference seriousness makes. And if you can do it for a test, why not do it for your life? Until you get serious, life has no reason to reward you. Why would it? Why would life hand over wealth, success, happiness, and fulfillment to someone who only treats their future like a side project? It doesn't work that way. The universe responds to commitment, not convenience. It responds to effort that refuses to quit, not effort that disappears when things get tough. The moment you get serious, things begin to shift. You see opportunities you couldn't see before. Your mind sharpens. Your energy changes. People begin to treat you differently. Why? Because seriousness has weight. When you are serious about your goals, you move differently. You talk differently. You carry a sense of urgency. And that urgency attracts results. Take your health as an example. You can say you want to be fit. You can say you want more energy. You can say you want to lose weight. But if you're not serious, you'll keep skipping workouts, you'll keep eating poorly, and nothing will change. The day you get serious, though, everything shifts. Suddenly you start making time instead of excuses. Suddenly the workout is not optional. It's mandatory. Suddenly the food you eat isn't just about taste. It's about fueling your body. And with seriousness comes progress. With progress comes momentum. And with momentum comes transformation. The same applies to money. You can wish for financial freedom, but wishes don't pay bills. You can dream of wealth, but dreams don't create discipline. Until you get serious about your money, tracking it, saving it, investing it, you'll remain where you are. Seriousness forces you to say no to impulsive spending. Seriousness makes you learn what you don't know, and seriousness teaches you patience while you build. Even in relationships, seriousness makes the difference. If you're casual, you neglect, you assume, you take things for granted. But when you get serious, you invest time, you listen, you grow with the person, you put in the work to build something lasting. Seriousness deepens bonds, while casualness weakens them. The world doesn't change when you wish. It changes when you decide. A wish is weak, but a decision backed by seriousness is powerful. The day you say, no more excuses, no more delays, no more half-hearted attempts. This is the moment, and I will not stop until I get it. That day your life takes a new direction. So ask yourself, are you truly serious about the life you say you want? Or are you just interested, just playing around, just waiting for the right time? Because the right time never comes. The only right time is when you decide to get serious. Until you get serious, nothing changes. But the moment you do, everything begins to. That's the key. That's the turning point. And that's the challenge life gives to each of us. Are you ready to stop wanting and finally start committing? The answer to that question will shape the rest of your life. Life bends to a made-up mind. That statement is more than philosophy, it's a law of success. A mind that is undecided, scattered, and filled with hesitation has no power. It drifts with the winds of circumstance, moving wherever pressure pushes it. But the moment you make a firm decision, when your mind is truly made up, something extraordinary happens. The world begins to arrange itself around your choice. Undecided people struggle because they're always waiting for a sign, waiting for approval, waiting for the perfect time. And in that waiting, nothing grows. Indecision is the thief of progress. It keeps you stuck in endless loops of, maybe tomorrow, and someday I will. But life doesn't reward, maybe. It doesn't honor, someday. It bends to a mind that says, this is it, this is what I'm going to do, and nothing will stop me. Think of how water bends around rock, how rivers carve valleys, how even the strongest resistance eventually gives way to persistence. That's what happens when your mind is made up. Circumstances that once looked immovable suddenly shift. Barriers that once looked permanent begin to weaken. The people around you sense your conviction, and even those who doubted you at first start to believe. The made-up mind carries a weight that influences everything it touches. History is full of examples. Every breakthrough, every revolution, every invention began with someone who made up their mind. The Wright brothers decided man could fly. Everyone laughed. Everyone doubted. But their minds were made up, and eventually the sky bent to their will. Edison decided to bring light into the world. Thousands of failures, yet he persisted, because his decision was unshakable. Life bent to his mind. The truth is, life doesn't bend for the half-hearted. If you're still holding on to your excuses, still keeping a backup plan in case things don't work, you haven't truly decided. You're just flirting with possibility, not committing to destiny. A made-up mind eliminates escape routes. It burns the boats. It says, either I succeed or I die trying. That kind of decision changes everything. When your mind is made up, fear loses its grip. Doubt might whisper, but it can't control you. Distractions may appear, but they can't hold your attention. You become focused, almost unstoppable, because you're no longer asking, "If." You're only asking, "How?" And the brain, when given a clear command, becomes incredibly resourceful. When you decide with finality, your mind begins to find answers, opportunities, and paths you never noticed before. This is why indecision is so dangerous. Every day you hesitate, you weaken your resolve. You confuse your own spirit. You tell life you're not serious yet, and life takes you at your word. But once you say, "This is my path," clarity comes, energy comes, momentum comes. People say you're lucky, but luck favors the mind that has already chosen. Think about your own life. How many things have you said you wanted, but never decided on? How many times have you let opportunities slip because you couldn't commit? How much time has been wasted in the fog of maybe? Contrast that with the times you truly decided. Whether it was starting a job, moving to a new city, or committing to a relationship. Once you made the decision, everything around you began to fall into place. That's the power of a made-up mind. So the challenge is this: stop living in hesitation. Stop waiting for the perfect time, because there is no perfect time. Stop waiting for guarantees, because there will never be any. The only thing you control is your decision. And once you decide with total commitment, life bends. Doors open, people appear, energy flows, obstacles shrink. Life is not about having everything figured out. It's about making the decision first, then figuring it out along the way. When your mind is made up, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You only need to take the first step. With each step, the path reveals itself, because your decision pulls you forward. Remember, hesitation leads to regret, but decision leads to destiny. You can keep drifting, or you can decide today to plant your flag and say, "This is what I will do, no matter what." And when you do, don't be surprised when life starts rearranging itself to help you. That's not coincidence. It's the natural power of a made-up mind. Goals treated like hobbies paid like hobbies. That's the plain truth. Too many people say they want success, but they treat it like a casual interest. They approach their dreams the way someone approaches a weekend pastime. Something to dabble in when the mood strikes. Something fun to talk about, but not something to sacrifice for. And when you treat your goals like a hobby, life pays you accordingly. It gives you scraps, not rewards. It gives you frustration instead of fulfillment. Think about the difference between a hobby and a serious pursuit. A hobby is optional. You do it when you have extra time, when you feel inspired, when nothing else is demanding your attention. It's a side activity, not the main event. But a serious pursuit demands commitment. It requires structure, discipline, sacrifice, and consistency. It becomes part of who you are, not just something you do occasionally. The problem is, many people keep their dreams stuck in the hobby category. They say they want financial freedom, but they treat money casually. They don't study. They don't track. They don't plan. They just hope. They say they want to get fit, but their workouts are occasional and their diet is careless. They say they want to build a business, but they work on it only when motivation is high. That's not seriousness. That's dabbling. And dabblers never rise beyond mediocrity. When you treat your goals like hobbies, you also send a message to yourself and to life: "I'm not fully committed." And life responds to that lack of seriousness. Opportunities pass you by. Discipline slips. Progress crawls. You stay stuck in cycles of starting and stopping, building a little momentum, only to lose it again. But the moment you upgrade your goals from hobby status to serious pursuit, everything changes. You start scheduling your time differently. You start protecting your energy. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Seriousness turns your goal into a non-negotiable part of your life. Just like brushing your teeth or going to work, it becomes something you do consistently, whether you feel like it or not. Consider an athlete. For them, their sport is not a hobby, it's a way of life. Their diet, their sleep, their training schedule, even their mindset. All of it revolves around their pursuit of excellence. That seriousness pays them with trophies, recognition, and mastery. Now imagine if they treated their sport like a hobby, showing up to practice only when it was convenient. They'd be average at best, forgotten at worst. The same rule applies to your goals. If you want a business that thrives, you can't treat it like a hobby. You must study, plan, invest, and build daily. If you want health that lasts, you can't treat it casually. You must create a lifestyle that supports it every single day. If you want relationships that are deep and meaningful, you can't give them leftover energy. You must nurture them with intention. The rewards of life don't go to the casual. They go to the serious. Life is fair in this way. It gives back in proportion to what you put in. Small effort equals small results. Great effort equals great results. If you give your goals part-time energy, expect part-time outcomes. But if you give them your full commitment, life eventually pays you full reward. So the question becomes, are you playing with your goals, or are you pursuing them with everything you've got? Because hobbies are fine if you're looking for entertainment. But if you're looking for transformation, if you're seeking a new life, you must elevate beyond hobby status. Your dreams deserve seriousness. They deserve the best of your time, the best of your focus, the best of your energy. Anything less, and you're cheating yourself. Don't insult your future by treating it like a pastime. Build habits, build systems, build consistency, and watch how life begins to open doors for you. Treat your goals like hobbies, and you'll stay stuck wishing. Treat them like your life depends on them, and you'll start living the results most people only dream about. The difference is not talent, not luck, not background, it's seriousness. And the day you take your goals as seriously as your breath, that's the day your life changes forever. Excuses stop when seriousness starts. Excuses are the comfort blanket of the uncommitted. They are the language of those who want results without responsibility, progress without sacrifice, reward without effort. As long as excuses are alive in your life, you will always find a reason to delay, to postpone, to justify why you are not where you want to be. But something powerful happens the day you truly get serious. Excuses no longer have a place to live. They get pushed out by determination, they get silenced by discipline, and they get replaced with results. Excuses are easy. Anyone can make them. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I wasn't given the right opportunities. The circumstances aren't ideal. Life will always provide you with plenty of raw material to build excuses. But here's the truth. You can either build excuses or build your future. You don't get to build both. Excuses are the chains that keep people stuck in the same place year after year, repeating the same story, living the same struggles, never breaking free. The reason excuses exist is because seriousness hasn't yet shown up. When you're casual about your goals, you allow excuses to dominate the conversation. You give them authority. You negotiate with them. You let them talk you out of action. But when you are serious, there is no negotiation. You don't ask, do I feel like it? You don't say, I'll start when the time is right. You simply do what must be done, no matter how you feel. Seriousness kills the debate. Think about someone training for a marathon. If they're casual, excuses win. It's too cold outside. Their legs are sore. They don't have the right shoes. But if they're serious, nothing stops them. Rain or shine, tired or energized, they train. Why? Because excuses don't exist in a serious mind. A serious mind only asks, what's the next step? And then takes it. Excuses also shrink when priorities become clear. If something truly matters to you, you'll find a way. If it doesn't, you'll find an excuse. People say they don't have time, but they watch hours of television or scroll endlessly on their phones. The truth is not a lack of time, it's a lack of seriousness. The moment you decide your future is non-negotiable, you discover that you had the time all along, you just weren't using it correctly. The same applies to money. Someone says they can't save or invest because they don't earn enough. Yet they find money for luxuries, entertainment, and habits that bring no return. The problem is not income, it's priorities. The serious person rearranges their spending, cuts out waste, learns new skills, and finds opportunities. The excuse maker justifies inaction. Excuses are clever. They disguise themselves as logic, as fairness, as good reasons. But deep down, we all know when we're making excuses. It's that little voice that whispers, you could do more, but you don't want to pay the price. And that's the moment seriousness must step in. Seriousness tells that voice, enough. I've wasted enough time, enough opportunities, enough potential. No more excuses. Once you get serious, the power shifts. You stop blaming the economy, your past, your upbringing, or your circumstances. You take full ownership of your life. You realize that plenty of people started with less and built more. Plenty of people had obstacles but still succeeded. If they could do it, so can you. The difference isn't luck, it's the absence of excuses. Seriousness doesn't mean conditions are perfect. It means you move forward despite imperfections. It means you do what you can with what you have, where you are, and you keep improving along the way. Excuses wait for perfect conditions, but serious people create progress in imperfect conditions. Ask yourself, how many excuses have you been telling yourself? How many stories have you used to justify why you're not where you want to be? And now ask yourself another question: what would happen if, starting today, you decided to live with zero excuses? What if every time your mind reached for an excuse, you replaced it with action? Imagine the momentum you'd create. Imagine the confidence you'd build. Imagine the results you'd see. Excuses are a habit, but so is discipline. And once you get serious, discipline takes over. The excuses that once felt so real suddenly sound empty. They don't hold power over you anymore, because your vision, your goals, your determination are louder. And when excuses fall silent, action becomes natural. Excuses stop when seriousness starts. That's the turning point. The day you decide that your goals matter more than your comfort, more than your laziness, more than your fear. That's the day your excuses lose their grip on you forever. And from that day forward, your life begins to move in the direction of your highest potential. Seriousness turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. A dream by itself is beautiful, inspiring, and motivating for a short while, but a dream without seriousness fades like smoke. Dreams live in the imagination, but reality lives in discipline. The bridge between the two is seriousness. When you finally decide that your dream is not just a wish but a responsibility, you begin to treat it differently. You no longer talk about it casually. You work on it deliberately. You stop waiting for miracles, and you start creating structure. That is how dreams turn into plans and plans turn into results. Most people dream but very few plan. And the reason is simple: planning requires effort, focus, and sacrifice. It requires turning vague desires into concrete steps. To dream is easy. You can close your eyes, picture a better future, and feel good for a moment. But a serious person says, I will take this picture in my mind and translate it into action. Seriousness forces you to sit down and map out what needs to be done. It forces you to ask, what skills must I learn? What habits must I build? What sacrifices must I make? And most importantly, what will I do today to move closer? Without seriousness, dreams stay in the land of someday. People say, someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get healthy. Someday I'll travel. Someday I'll change my life. But someday never arrives. It's a word that fools the casual thinker into believing that delay is harmless. In reality, every day you delay, the dream slips further away. Seriousness kills someday and replaces it with now. Once seriousness enters, your dream stops being a fantasy and becomes a project. And a project has deadlines, milestones, and measurable progress. You don't just say, I want to write a book. You set a plan. I will write 1 page every day. You don't just say, I want to be fit. You create a schedule. I will exercise at 7 a.m. every weekday. That structure is born from seriousness. And with structure comes momentum. The beauty of seriousness is that it transforms your identity. You stop being someone who wishes and become someone who works. And when you work consistently, even small steps compound. A page a day becomes a finished book. A workout a day becomes a transformed body. Saving a little money regularly becomes financial freedom. What once looked impossible becomes inevitable, because you moved beyond dreaming and entered the realm of doing. But here's the key: the plan itself doesn't create the reality. Your seriousness does. Anyone can write goals on paper. Anyone can design a plan. But without the weight of seriousness behind it, that plan is nothing more than ink and intention. Seriousness is what keeps you showing up when you're tired. Seriousness is what keeps you focused when distractions appear. Seriousness is what makes you recommit when you fall short. It's not the plan that changes your life. It's the seriousness that makes you stick to it. Think about architects. They don't just dream of a building. They draw blueprints, they calculate, they measure, they revise, and eventually, the dream in their mind becomes a structure you can walk into. That's what happens when you take your life seriously. Your dream becomes a blueprint, and your blueprint becomes reality. Without seriousness, people live in cycles of excitement and disappointment. They get motivated, set a goal, do a little work, then quit when it gets hard. Months later, they get motivated again, repeat the cycle, and wonder why nothing changes. The missing ingredient isn't talent or luck. It's seriousness. Motivation gets you started, but seriousness keeps you going. So how do you know when you're serious? You know, because excuses disappear. You know because you no longer need to convince yourself. You just act. You know because you are willing to pay the price in time, effort, and sacrifice. You know because your actions align with your words. Seriousness is visible, it cannot be hidden. Ask yourself, what dreams have you been holding on to but never turning into plans? What plans have you written but never executed? The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not the size of your dream. It's the seriousness of your commitment. When you get serious, your dream stops being a wishful thought and becomes your mission. Your mission shapes your habits shape your days. And your days, one after another, build your destiny. Seriousness turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. That's the formula. Not magic, not luck, not shortcuts. Just seriousness, structure, and persistence. And when you embrace that formula, you discover something extraordinary. Your life becomes exactly what you decided it would be. You don't wait for opportunity. You prepare for it. Too many people sit around hoping life will hand them a golden ticket, believing that one day luck will knock on their door and everything will change. They wait for the promotion, the chance meeting, the perfect timing. But life doesn't work that way. Opportunity doesn't visit the unprepared. It passes by those who are idle and lands in the hands of those who have been training, studying, and working quietly in the background. Opportunity is not about waiting, it's about readiness. Imagine two people standing side by side. Both want success. Both dream of a breakthrough. Suddenly, an opportunity appears, an idea, a connection, a challenge, a door opening. One person steps forward and seizes it, while the other hesitates and watches it vanish. What's the difference? Preparation. The prepared mind says, "This is what I've been waiting for. I'm ready." The unprepared mind says, "I wish I had studied more. I wish I had practiced. I wish I knew how." Opportunity rewards the ready, not the wishful. Preparation is the unseen work that makes you deserving of the seen reward. It's the hours you spend learning while others waste time. It's the discipline of practicing your craft when nobody is watching. It's the humility to sharpen your skills when no one is applauding. People often call it luck when someone rises quickly, but luck is nothing more than preparation meeting opportunity. Without preparation, even the greatest chance in the world will slip through your fingers. Think about a musician who gets a sudden invitation to perform on a big stage. If they've been practicing daily, honing their skills, they'll shine. If they've been careless, skipping practice, that moment will expose them. The opportunity was the same, but the outcome was different, determined by preparation. The same is true in every field. Athletes train relentlessly, not knowing when their big game or big moment will come. Entrepreneurs study markets and sharpen their vision, not knowing when the right investor will appear. The serious know that opportunity always comes, but only the prepared can use it. Waiting is easy, preparing is hard. Waiting requires no effort, only hope. Preparation demands effort, sacrifice, and patience. It's not glamorous because most of it happens in private. It's early mornings, late nights, repetition, study, failure, correction, and trying again. But all that work stacks up silently, building strength and skill until one day the world says, "You're lucky." No, you're not lucky, you're prepared. The danger of waiting is that when opportunity finally does come, it often comes fast, without warning. It doesn't pause and wait for you to get ready. It knocks once. And if you're not prepared, it moves on. Life doesn't stop and circle back just because you weren't ready. That's why seriousness is so critical. You must treat preparation as non-negotiable. Don't say, "I'll get ready when the opportunity shows up." Say, "I'll be ready, so when the opportunity shows up, I'll already be in motion." Preparation also builds confidence. Confidence doesn't come from wishing. It comes from knowing you've put in the work. When you're prepared, you don't second guess, you don't hesitate, and you don't doubt. You act boldly because you trust your preparation. Without preparation, even the smallest challenge feels overwhelming. With preparation, even the biggest challenge feels possible. So ask yourself, what are you preparing for? Are you waiting for a better job without building new skills? Are you waiting for financial opportunities without learning about money? Are you waiting for health improvements without changing your habits? Waiting changes nothing. Preparation changes everything. Every book you read, every skill you sharpen, every disciplined choice you make is an investment in your future. And here's the truth. Opportunity is guaranteed. It always comes. The only question is whether you'll be ready when it arrives. The world is full of chances, but only a prepared person can turn those chances into success. That's why you must train now, build now, study now, sacrifice now. Don't worry about when opportunity will come. Focus on being ready for it. Preparation may not bring immediate reward, but it creates inevitable reward. It's a law of life. You cannot stay prepared and not be rewarded eventually. The world cannot ignore someone who is ready. Doors will open, people will notice, and momentum will build. When the opportunity comes, and it will, you won't just take it, you'll maximize it. You don't wait for opportunity, you prepare for it. Waiting is passive. Preparation is powerful. Waiting leaves you vulnerable. Preparation makes you unstoppable. The choice is yours. You can spend your days hoping something will change, or you can spend your days preparing so that when change arrives, you are the one who seizes it. Once you get serious, everything changes. That's not an exaggeration. It's the reality of life. Seriousness acts like a switch. Before it's turned on, your days feel the same, your habits stay the same, your results stay the same. You live in circles, repeating old patterns, wishing for something better but never stepping fully into it. But the day you draw a line in the sand and say, enough is enough, this is the new standard, this is the new me, your entire world begins to shift. Seriousness changes how you see time. Before, hours slip by unnoticed. You waste days on distractions, promising yourself you'll start tomorrow. But when you get serious, you realize tomorrow is not guaranteed. Suddenly, every hour matters. Every moment becomes a chance to move closer to your goals. You stop killing time and start using it like the priceless resource it is. Seriousness makes you aware that time wasted is life wasted, and that awareness alone transforms how you live. Seriousness changes how you see effort. Before, effort feels like a burden. Work feels heavy, discipline feels unfair, and sacrifice feels too high. But when you get serious, you understand effort is the price of admission to the life you want. You stop resisting the work and start embracing it. You no longer ask, how hard will this be? Instead, you ask, how much closer will this take me? The same work that once felt painful begins to feel purposeful, because seriousness shifts your perspective. Seriousness changes your habits. Before, you live by convenience, eating what's easy, doing what's comfortable, giving in to whatever you feel in the moment. But when you get serious, convenience is no longer the driver. Commitment is. You replace lazy habits with productive ones. You stop letting your feelings dictate your actions and let your vision guide you instead. Bit by bit, your daily routine transforms. And because habits shape destiny, your entire future begins to move in a new direction. Seriousness changes your standards. Before, you tolerate mediocrity. You allow yourself to slack off, you accept excuses, you settle for less than your best. But when you get serious, you raise the bar. You refuse to tolerate what no longer serves you. You stop negotiating with weakness and demand more from yourself. And when your standards rise, so does your performance. Life has a way of meeting you at the level of your standards. Raise them, and everything around you starts to rise too. Seriousness changes your relationships. Before, you may keep company with people who waste time, complain, and distract you from your goals. But once you get serious, you see how costly that is. You begin to distance yourself from negativity and surround yourself with people who inspire challenge and push you higher. You stop seeking comfort in the crowd and start seeking growth in the right company. As your seriousness grows, your circle changes, and your circle plays a huge role in shaping your future. Seriousness changes your results. Before, progress is slow, inconsistent, and often disappointing. You start things but rarely finish. You want results but rarely see them. But when you get serious, the results begin to compound. Each day of consistent effort builds on the last. Small wins stack up into major victories. The changes at first are quiet and invisible, but soon they become undeniable. Others start to notice, asking what changed. And the answer is simple: you got serious. And perhaps most importantly, seriousness changes you. Before, you might doubt yourself, question your worth, and wonder if you have what it takes. But seriousness builds confidence, because confidence is born from action, not talk. The more you commit, the more you act, the more you see yourself differently. You begin to trust your own word, because you follow through. You stop being a spectator in your own life and become the creator of it. Everything changes when you get serious, because seriousness is the foundation of transformation. Without it, nothing works. With it, everything starts to align. The world doesn't bend for wishful thinkers, but it does bend for the committed. The universe doesn't reward dabblers, but it does reward the determined. So if you're tired of being stuck, tired of waiting, tired of talking about what you'll do someday, the answer is not out there. It's inside you. Make the decision to get serious. Serious about your health, serious about your growth, serious about your future. And once you do, watch how fast your life begins to shift. Once you get serious, everything changes. Your time, your effort, your habits, your standards, your relationships, your results, and ultimately, you. And that changes the doorway to the life you've been dreaming of all along.